joined by our special guest and one of our good friends here. You know him as Ty Jager of News for San Antonio and also the host of At the Line podcast. Hey, Ty, how's it going?
It's going. It's been a very long day and very well. I would say the other day was probably a bit more busier because we had a lot more news coming out. But today was a fun day. Let's say that it was a much more fun day than it was, I'd
Yeah.
say, Thursday.
That it was. Today was a fun day because we finally got the drop. We got the unveil, the official unveil of the San Antonio Spurs City Edition jerseys. And as Ty had broke the news almost it seems like almost a year ago now that we got the leak of what these
It was
Edition jerseys were going to look like. How long ago was it?
that was last month,
Oh,
so
wow.
at least 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah, it just seems like another lifetime ago that we've already us and Spurs Twitter have already seen the unveil. We just now today just the Spurs just made it official. They confirmed the leak was in fact legit. So we got to see that, and I thought the design from a design aesthetic, everything looked really clean. I mean, what were your first indications of you actually seeing these jerseys for the first time officially on the Spurs players? What were your impressions?
They looked as clean as I thought that they would have from the leak. It looks clean. I thought I kind of had some skepticism on the numbers originally, but I think the numbers look really good on this jersey now. But overall, having the shorts on them, having the jersey on them, and putting them together, it just looks perfect to me
Yeah, I thought
for
it was good.
a perfect starting Fiesta jersey.
Yeah, and not only that, but they also, by mistake, shout out to Bala Pat's Stan's account on Twitter. He was very observant, and he's the one that brought this to Spurs Twitter's attention. If you looked at the court, and we put it up on the Two Shots podcast Twitter, so you can go check that out, you can actually see a little bit of the Fiesta coloring already on the actual court right now. He did a rendition of what it might look like in real time. So it was kind of like the stripes from the actual uniform on the court, which kind of it seems to be that's going to be dead on. There might be a little deviation from that because we really didn't get a good solid look from above, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. It's just a small nod to the Fiesta colors, and I'm sure you saw that. What do you think about that?
So yeah, we kind of already had some idea that there was going to be a special court with this. I'm not sure if this is going to be the full time court or a secondary court, but I do have some ideas. If that stripe is there, I'm really hoping that it's a full diagonal stripe, not just like cut at the center court, but I really hope that it goes along the length of the court because I think it would look the best that way. But overall, I think that there was also that skyline image that they posted on
Oh yeah.
Thursday that I feel like is going to be incorporated somehow too, and I'm excited to see that. But I'm really excited to see how this court's going to look, and we're most likely going to get a release next week of it.
Yeah, we'll probably get more and more information. I think they're going to release other variants of the jersey because we got the city edition jerseys, but we haven't really gotten a look at what the jerseys are going to look like for the upcoming season. And I've been told that we can expect some changes. Now, what those changes might be, we don't really have solid information. I don't have any leaked photos. I don't know if Ty has anything that he can leak out, but
I don't have anything. I heard so yeah. So yesterday we started getting some rumblings that there could be more than just a city edition jersey that could have possibly been released today. We didn't see that, of course, and that was also a bit of sigh relief because I started getting worried that Spurs gonna pull a fast one on me. They're gonna just have that leak and just decide, nah, not gonna use that design. We'll use something different and try to pull a fast one on me. But luckily, once the jerseys dropped, I was a bit more relieved. I was disappointed by the lack of other jerseys, but again, it's Fiesta jersey. We're all excited at this point.
Rudy over here is trolling us. Our good friend Rudy Campos Jr. He says, "Breaking news: the SA Spurs will play basketball again." He says, "Laugh out loud. Just wanted to see how Ty feels to be in the Ty's big baller's shoes to break news." Rudy's trying to
I
drop Jaeger bombs.
I love having Jaeger bomb. I love having this platform. I love that people do. I think forgot when this was, but But whenever people started coming to me asking for what I think is going to be best for the league, with some of the best trades, what could possibly happen, whenever I started having that, I started feeling really confident in myself, and it was a good feeling because it is people are coming to you and thinking they trust you and your knowledge, and I pride myself in being very knowledgeable and being able to be a quick learner when it comes to anything. I will say, what was it? I There was someone else that I had to quickly learn something on the fly for in terms of I forgot what it was probably the draft lottery at first. I had to quickly learn that, and then once we got that, then we went to some CBA stuff too. So it's been a fun ride, and I really enjoyed this position I'm in. And I
Yeah.
have to thank Jeff Garcia for putting me in this position because I honestly would not be here if it wasn't for him mentoring me and giving me the platform that I'm really grateful to have.
Oh, there you go. At least you're humble about it, and you're not letting it get to your head. So that's a good thing. We still
So,
have the
I,
original Ty Jager with us.
if you ask Jeff, it is getting to my head in private.
Maybe he's secretly afraid you're gonna was it overthrow the apprentice is gonna overthrow the master.
There can only be there can only be two, and I'm gonna have an apprentice at some point. So Jeff, better look out.
Yeah, there you go. So in other news too that we got coming out of the Spurs here is the release date for these jerseys. These jerseys are going to be available on December 3rd, going on sale at 9 a.m. both at the shops at La Cantera, which is the fan shop, and also they're going to be available online. We don't know what the retail price is, but I'm thinking it's going to be upwards of the $120, $130 range for these types of jerseys. So be prepared because
I think it's gonna be in that normal jersey range, which is usually 100 to 110.
really,
Um, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would think so. I would also not be surprised if they have like that Fanatics lower end one that usually runs for about $70. Said
okay.
this on the latest Locked On Spurs that's going to come out this weekend. That I think it's going to be within that normal jersey range. If you really want the authentic one, it's going to cost you about $200. But I think that you're going to see through all three versions of this jersey most likely.
Now there you go. So if you want the jersey, you're gonna have to really be prepared to pull that trigger quick because they're gonna sell out as soon as they go
Some
on
people are
sale.
saying like they're not going to sell out. I was like, boy, you are really underestimating the the desire for this jersey.
Yeah. So they're gonna sell out. So you're gonna want one. Make sure you pull that trigger quick. And I already signed up for the alerts. You could do that over on the Spurs website. They had a special link where you could just go and put in your information and get the alert. Hey, the jersey's going to be on sale the next day or what have you. Just as a reminder. I doubt if they're going to give anybody special access to the jersey unless you're a season ticket holder. You know.
Well, they go on sale on totally December 4th at 10 a.m. Totally not December 3rd at 9 a.m. or anything like
There
that.
you go.
'Cause I really want that jersey. I would be definitely telling you the proper time, not December 3rd at 9 a.m.
Or Rudy says, or you can get the flea market edition where it says San Juanito on the okay on the front.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have some bootleg versions over at the Pulga, so or on the roadside. So don't wash them because as soon as you wash them, the
they're,
numbers and
they're
everything will fall off. There you go.
they're dead.
They're dead. So and you know and the thing was too is that it was funny because everybody here in Spurs land, Spurs Twitter especially, everybody was so excited that they've finally dropped these jerseys. It had been a long time coming, and the Spurs finally seemed to get the reason that we love the Fiesta colors so much, or these colors mean so much to the culture because it is part of our culture. It's not just Fiesta; it's a celebration of all things San Antonio. It's the meshing of the cultures coming together. That's basically what these colors represent and why it meant so much to the fan base here. So it's full circle now. I never thought this day would come, that we'd actually see a Spurs Fiesta themed jersey come out. So I got to tell you, it was very emotional for me when I first got a glimpse of it. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. It felt like a dream, and I did not want to wake up. So I was really excited, just like all the fans here, at 10 o'clock today. They were thrilled that this, in fact, did come true. I know you probably hadn't been waiting as long as we had, but you've been waiting a
It,
while.
it's it's got like even up like 5 minutes up to time, I was getting excited. I was getting like that, jumping in my seat. Just I'm excited for
The
this, even though
butterflies.
I knew exactly what the jersey was going to look like. And I think I have to give credit to the Spurs marketing team because even though that we leaked it, and even though they called me out especially for it, they still did a great job at hyping everyone up.
Yeah.
And again, this whoever this new marketing team is for the Spurs, they're doing a fantastic job with their content, with how they are interacting with fans, and I'm really looking forward to not just the team, but the other side to this San Antonio Spurs team that's working on the inside, that's working to help generate money, generate fan hype, and all that. I'm really excited to see what their work is going to be.
Yeah, and then another exciting thing that we got too was the Coyote trolling everybody early before they unveiled the jerseys, and then he showed the jersey on himself. And what happened? He's still not wearing pants, Ty.
I tried negotiating with him. I did on Twitter today. I tried to negotiate with him, and I think we got a deal. I think we got a deal down where it is if he makes an exception for these jersey shorts, we'll call them shorts, not pants. So technically, he's not wearing pants.
Yeah.
He's just wearing shorts.
Well, I have seen him wear some pants. They're like warm-up pants that he wears on occasion. It's part of the costume that he's wearing, and it's very rare that you see him wearing any type of pants or shorts for that matter. So if you can get him to wear a pair of shorts, you've accomplished a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we got that deal. But still, how Spurs Coyote was active today in the hype too, and again, whoever's running the Coyote page specifically is doing a great job as well. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean the real Coyote. I don't want to ruin the magic or anything.
Yeah, everything that the Spurs did, as far as from the marketing standpoint, as you stated, was amazing. It's like they finally listened to the fans, and they gave us exactly what we wanted, which is what we've been saying for quite some time here. I'm sure at some point in time, maybe one of the alternate unis is probably going to be a camo uni. I'm fine with that. We got our Fiesta uni. I'm cool with it.
So, and that's we were saying that again on Locked On Spurs too, and Jeff's probably trying to hit me over the head for spoiling the latest episode. But we were saying that now that the Fiesta jersey's there, would fans be okay if there was a camo jersey that went alongside it, knowing that you'll still get the Fiesta jersey along with it?
I'd
And
be
I think
fine
some
with
people
it.
said yeah, especially if you're doing it for specific days,
Yeah.
special occasions, and if they do it right. For instance, I really like the white camo jersey that they had this last year. Not the black version, but the white version. I thought that
Yeah.
was really clean looking jersey in my opinion.
Yeah, it wasn't as busy as the black and gray because that kind of got mudded. You really couldn't see a lot of the detail. But with the white, the lighter colored jersey, you could, and it just looked really clean. So I'm with you on that one. But it's still a big day for us here in Spurs land, in Spurs Twitter. Everybody was going nuts over these jerseys. So it was a really refreshing day for us. What a way to end the week, And also, shout out to Monty, Spurs Next, for releasing the updated list that he did of the who's who in Spurs Twitter, who to follow. I'm grateful to report and humbled that he included you, myself, and Jeff on the list as well. We really appreciate that. It's humbling to be included in that, but it's made for fun. It's not something to be taken
Yeah,
seriously. So don't
and
get upset if your name was not on the list.
it's name drop. I'm not gonna drop a name. We all, if anyone was experiencing this back in March with us, you know exactly who we're talking
Oh
about.
Lord.
And I'm not gonna drop that name. He's not worth the name drop at all.
You can refer
But
to him as he who shall not be named.
he should, he who is very who's I'm trying to think of a word, and I don't want to be rude or anything because I'm not gonna be that person. But he's a special character. How about that?
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. The new list came out, so we'll see what
Let's see if
happens in a couple days. Give it a couple days.
the man who can block, but it's not named Marco.
Yeah, well, there you go. I like that. I like that. But either way, anything else that you saw today that you kind of, you were really surprised or happy with by the San Antonio Spurs?
So, all right. So I think the biggest thing that we kind of saw today was people extremely overreacting to
Oh my goodness.
people to certain players being in that
Oh
photos.
yeah.
I'm like,
The absence
guys,
of
calm
DeMar.
down.
Yeah, the absence of DeMar
So
and LMA.
so I have explanations for these, and they make perfect sense to why they're not in it.
Oh, and don't forget to add Luca into that as well. They were saying,
Oh
why isn't
yeah,
it
that
Luca
too.
in there? Yeah.
That too. Again, you can hear my sigh. So first off, let's start with Demar. Demar has a player option. That means he is technically he's a free agent at this moment until he decides what he wants to do. That means the Spurs team are not going to spend money and marketing dollars on a guy that might not even be on the team in the next few days. So, and they're doing you got to do that as a precaution. Even if he does accept, you still have to be cautious just because you don't know you don't know what he's going to do because it is the player's option, not the team's option, the player's option. And so, technically, he's a free agent at this moment until he decides what he wants to do. If he wants to opt in, go ahead. He's back on the Spurs. If he wants to opt out, he continues and goes into free agency for other teams to bid on him. So the team is not going to spend marketing dollars on a guy that they don't know which way he's going to go in the next few days. Not like the next few weeks, next few days. And especially on a big drop like this, which is pretty significant for fans at the least, you're not going to spend that much marketing dollars.
Yeah.
On to LMA. So Jeff Garcia did drop information last week that they did a photo shoot, and this was the photo shoot that we are now witnessing. Well, during that photo shoot, LMA was posting on Instagram pictures of his vacation that he was currently on. So he was not in San Antonio to even be there to be at the photo shoot. And the same thing can be applied to Luka, who's over in Croatia back at home. So it's I know that people are going to they're going to look too deeply into it. It's like, oh, they must not be there. It's like there's something going on. It's because they're not actually in town or they're not available. The same thing also applies to restricted free agents and Jakob, Drew, and Quindary because they are restricted free agents. They are technically free agents, and they cannot work with the team marketing wise just because you're not going to spend your marketing dollars on players you don't know that you might not have next season.
Yeah, exactly. There's always a good explanation for it. But the gist of it is, like Ty said, why spend the money if the guy's possibly not even going to be with the team? Two, you had other players that aren't even with the team right now because they're on vacation. That's the reason why they're not part of the shoot.
Yeah, and then you also have young players that people are excited about. People are excited about almost all those guys. I would say Trey Lyles people are excited about because Trey Lyles had a really good season. And so guess what? I would put money that if they showed DeMar or LMA, they would be saying, "Oh, we're the young guys. We're the young guys." It's like it can't be two. It can't work both ways. You got to pick. You pick one or the other. You want your former All-Stars that are aging and that you guys are begging to trade, or you get the young guys that you guys have been begging to get attention.
Yeah.
Like, make a decision, everyone. Come on.
Yeah, we're going to actually dive into some NBA prospect talk tomorrow with our good friends Noah Magaro and Eric Salinas, because I'm going to have them as guests tomorrow on the Two Shots podcast. And then hopefully next week we have a special fan episode. So I got some fans lined up and bringing them on the show, and we're going to talk, Spurs and anything else in between, and kind of get to know the fans a little bit better and give them the platform to talk. And I'm just going to kind of take a back seat. We're also going to have Nerd Zach on hopefully next week, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh no!
Horny Spurs Twitter.
Oh God, no!
Oh man,
you're setting yourself up for something. I'm just gonna warn you on that.
It's all in fun, man. I'm sure Zach will probably be hopefully on his best behavior.
You're right. I'm not having any of this nonsense. You can quote me on that.
But Zach's always a good follow, man. He's funny as hell, man. And also Spurs next. Monty, you made me laugh today. You had me rolling on the sofa for like 30 minutes, dude. When Nick says, "Where the hell am I?"
Nick Yarborough, one of my buddies now. That's kind of replaced Mac at the moment.
Yeah, he's like, "Where the hell am I on that list?" And Spurs next goes in the toilet flush. dude.
Like every time, we were talking about this before we stream, and we're still laughing over it because it's pretty
It's
golden.
freaking hilarious, dude. I was laughing so hard, Monty. You had me cracking up for like 30 minutes. I kept looking at the tweet and just laughing. I'm just like, dude, Monty has no chill, man. I like that about Monty. He's funny, dude. He used to be a comedian or something, man.
I would I would not put it against him. He could easily do it.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him on. I want to get Spurs Monty on there, man. He's gonna really make us start cracking up and laughing. But Spurs Twitter is a lot of fun, dude. If you all haven't gone to Spurs Twitter and see what's happening on any given day, it's hilarious. And it's good and bad. Everybody's in for the ride, no matter what. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's kind of like a big old family, Spurs Twitter. So it's fun. Ty knows all about it. He's been part of Spurs Twitter for quite some time here.
Yeah, I want to say I was kind of part of it in 2014, but I was still a young lad. That was like in middle high school. I wasn't really active as much as I was. I don't think I started getting active. I want to say 2018 was probably when I started getting a little active, and then 2019 is whenever I came onto the scene when we released At the Line. That's when we started getting more, we started doing more. We got a lot more attention from everyone else, and then I started getting buddy with Jeff, and that's eventually he brought Mac and I onto Spurs Zone, and I think that's where because we were already generating some at least some following with At the Line,
Yeah.
and I think by the time that the off season came around, I think we really built some credibility right there. And again, I'm grateful that Jeff gave me the opportunity, and I'm still here. I am I am enjoying every minute that I work alongside him. That every time he has me come on Locked On Spurs, has me write an article with 5 minutes to go since it released, and we're rushing to get something out. Like I want to say it was Thursday where I wrote like 3 articles back to back to back in the span of maybe an hour, just because all this different news was hitting between the nude mock draft that Kevin O'Connor released that had all that information, to Lonnie signing with Clutch Sports, then to Tim Duncan stepping back from full-time coaching. That was all in one like afternoon, and that
Yeah.
was how busy my day was, at least that day. And then
Yeah.
also just trying to stay on Twitter and keeping track of, oh, what information's out now? What information do we got here? Oh, that's old information that someone's just
Yeah.
repackaging.
All the smoke that was coming out, about these trade rumors. I've never, ever, I can't even remember when, going back, way back when the first day has been this busy. Like it was one of these days to remember. You never hear nothing about Spurs trade rumors, really. It's all kind of, hush hush. But I mean, there was a lot of smoke. And then we started getting little, tidbits here and there of the information where Patty Mills has been on the trading block. Then it's like, oh, it's LMA. Then it maybe DeMar DeRozan. And, you hear the Lakers, you hear the Celtics, you hear Golden State, you hear a lot of things. So I think there's some activity, no doubt, going on behind the scenes. But as far as what is being said, I don't think we're really going to figure that out until a little bit later. But definitely there's some rumbling, some stirrings going on.
So I want to say I say that we had all this information going on. We already knew about the LMA, the Warriors' interest in trading the second pick for LMA. That was last week. Now we got that from Zach Lowe, and then we kind of saw versions of that get repackaged and everything.
Yeah.
And just we didn't really see any new updates. Then suddenly, I want to say suddenly, then we got the Kevin O'Connor mock draft update where he drops all this information. And then add on that Matt Babcock, an NBA draft analysis and a former NBA agent, he comes out and says, the Spurs are certainly up to something. And it's like, whoa, 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 slow down. We are not used to this.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot rumbling. Like you said, there's a lot of smoke. And I have a feeling that there's a Spurs kaiju hiding underneath all that smoke, and he's about to come out and just come destroy shit everywhere.
Yeah, I'm thinking
I'm ready for the kaiju to come.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that this signals that the Spurs are wanting to go full on youth movement, but we'll see exactly how that transpires. I'm all for it. I'm all for the youth movement.
And the other way is so some people will say, oh, they don't trust the young guys, but when are you going to trust the young guys? You have to.
At
And
some
I've been
point, you
saying
got
this for
to.
a long time now, where you have to give them the opportunity, even though you might have a down season for it, because in order for these guys to learn, they got to make mistakes. You don't learn. You can't learn anything if you're not making mistakes, because everyone learns from their mistakes. And
Exactly.
so you need to give them the minutes. And I love that. I love this argument that people always love to use. It's oh, I don't see Derek or Keldon being a 20-point night scorer. It's like they've never had the touches to even have the chance. And then
Exactly.
also they never had the touches to have the chance. And then you actually look at the bubble, and Keldon and Derek were scoring like a madman.
Because they got touches.
Keldon, Keldon, Keldon honestly was looking like he was scoring without any effort. He would drop
Yeah.
a quiet 20. And
And not
so,
only that, Ty, but he was one of the most prolific 3-point shooters that we had in the bubble.
yeah, and that's the thing that I really liked. And I think that's where the G League came in. Looking at his G League numbers, Keldon was horrible from beyond the arc.
Oh yeah.
He didn't really have an outside shot. He really scored a lot of the inside points and was kind of just scoring from the mid range. And then suddenly you get this long break, and I'm pretty sure that him and Chip England got together during this break, because
Mm-hmm.
coming out, then going to the bubble, he has a 3-point shot that's really consistent.
Yeah.
So, but you probably wouldn't known that if he didn't get the chance. And he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have got the chance if LaMarcus was there. If honestly, Trey Lyles was still there, I think Trey Lyles would have got more run and less Keldon. But still, if LaMarcus was there in the bubble, I don't think you see much of Keldon. I don't
Yeah.
think you get a lot of Derek. It becomes a lot of DeMar and LMA, and then no one else. But whenever you didn't have LMA, you had DeMar as your first option. Then Derek became your second option, and Derek did a excellent job of being probably one of the best, probably our MVP in my opinion, because he's probably the most valuable on both sides of the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, DeMar was probably the best offensive player in terms of just closing out games and really making the win for him. But I think you can have guys that can do that for you in Keldon, in Derek, if they get that DeMar first option touch. So some people are very hesitant to trade DeMar, and I can understand that. Because you don't really know who your next offensive guy is yet. But you won't know that until you actually allow these guys to have a chance to show you that. I think
Yeah.
Lonnie and Keldon could probably be the best two scorers on this team, just in terms of the abilities they have, the skill sets that they have, and but you're not going to get that if you don't give them the touches, if you don't give them the opportunity. So I don't know where we start on this, because I've had to go on these long tangents
Yeah.
all times
It's
before.
because we were talking about how the Spurs showed a lot of the youth movement
Yeah,
in
and
this
so
photo shoot, and there was the absence of some of the veterans,
yeah,
and they wondered why.
so if you're going with the youth movement, you have to trade guys like DeMar. You got to trade LMA, and it looks like the Spurs are doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a really valuable thing in developing these guys. Yeah, you might have a down season, but then you go into a 2021 offseason where you have almost over $60 million in cap space.
Yeah.
I think that you will use that money to re-sign guys like Derek, like Jakob into deals. So you might lose. You technically had 2 max spaces that you can sign. I think you'll lose one of those max spaces with re-signing and all that. But you still have a max spot still open. Yeah, people like say that, oh, San Antonio isn't a free agent destination. And it's like, I went a whole tangent on the last at the line. I don't want to get into that tangent again because I went way too long in there.
I'm gonna put
But
you on the hot seat real quick, though.
all right, hit me then.
I'm
Hit
gonna
me.
show a picture. I don't know. Let's see if everybody can see this picture on my phone. You
No,
see
all right,
those
no. I
nasty
saw
ass
that last
tacos?
night. That's disgusting.
Those
That is
nasty
disgusting.
tacos. Is this true, Ty?
No,
That
it's
people
not
in
true.
Dallas
It is not true.
have
That is not true.
spaghettios and macaroni on tacos.
God, that is not true. It is disgusting. I've never seen that in my life, and I wish I never see that ever again in my life.
That's some nasty stuff, man. And you
But
don't wake up early enough, because I told you, send me a pic of a legit taco from some place over in Dallas, and you're like, I don't wake up early enough. I
don't wake
forget
up
you're
early enough for that.
you're a night owl.
Yeah, there's a reason I have all this energy right now, even though it's only like 7 p.m.
See?
Even though it feels like 10 p.m. at the moment.
Somebody else watching us right now on YouTube, Kalmaza says, "This is nasty. It is
Yes,
nasty.
it is.
Those are some nasty
It is
tacos."
gross.
Thank
So,
you.
but going back to this youth movement, and then we have I think we have the one that I personally don't like, but I understand in terms of trying to move Patty Mills. they are shopping Patty Mills according to Kevin O'Connor. And as much as I don't like this as a fan, I understand the front office move. And the front office's move is more like because we didn't really see Patty play
in the
legitimate
bubble.
minutes within the regular season games
Yeah.
in the bubble. And that was because just these younger guys took role, and we saw that youth movement in the bubble where Pop and the front office gave all these young guys a lot more opportunity than they ever had. And unfortunately, it didn't really leave any minutes for Patty Mills to come in and really perform. And so as a result, and Patty's even said that he feels like he's in his prime, even at age 32, and he can really ball still. But there just really isn't any place for him within the rotation with all these young guys, with these abundance of guards, and I think the Spurs realize this. And instead of leaving him on the bench, I think they want to give Patty so Patty can still play. Patty can still perform in his prime. And so as a result, you're going to trade him and give him a better opportunity as a kind of a favor to him for spending almost all of his career with San Antonio.
Yeah. Remember I told you, and I've been saying this when we get together and we have podcasts together or live streams together, and I've been preaching it to Spurs fans. Don't get attached to players. It doesn't matter how beloved this player is, could be a fan favorite. They're assets that can be traded at any given time as long as it makes sense to trade such player as far as what you're going to get in return. So it can happen. And I had some of the projections as far as the salary cap goes, as far as player salary. I had put that up earlier this week because I got the stats from Cleaning the Glass. And if I'm looking right now at 2021, cap holds, the Spurs have $24.3 million. And the cap hold for the 2020-21 season, cap space, they have $36.5 million as far as the cap space. Yeah.
And so you're going to see that cap with cap holds. That's always kind of a thing. Whenever you have free agents, you kind of have you want to keep that cap hold just in case you do resign them.
Yeah.
You're going to see that. You're going to see a cap hold with Jager. You're going to see guys like Drew Eubanks and Quindary who are all three of them going to get the qualifying offers. But you are going to have cap holds in a cap figure, and DeMar DeRozan still there. LaMarcus Aldridge still there. Patty Mills, you're going to have 20 million cap hold. So you're going to see these cap holds, but you're going to see them disappear because I think you would. Because again, it's like the cap hold's more like a placeholder, and I don't see the Spurs re-sign LaMarcus. I don't see him re-sign DeMar, even if he does extend his player option if he isn't traded.
Yeah,
and then you're kind of trying to trade away these contracts as well, even though they are expiring. But you're trying to get something that you could really use. And one of the names that O'Connor mentioned for Patty Mills was Josh Richardson from the Sixers, which I think would be a great addition in terms of he's another great two-way player. Yeah, he kind of runs into that guard position, but he's a guard forward combo to me. So, but you add on his defense, get something in return for a really good form in Patty Mills. It's also expiring contract. So you want to take advantage of the expiring contract advantage that you have, and then getting something in value while also helping probably one of the best players that you've had in terms of culture and Patty Mills, trying to do a favor for him and make sure that he gets the opportunity that he can be the best player he can possibly be.
Yeah. But he's still able to contribute to the team, whether it be in, coming right off the bench or being a mentor to some of the younger players. There's still value in Patty Mills if you wind up keeping him. But if you package him in for a trade deal that'll benefit the team in the long run, especially if they're going to go full-on youth movement, you got to pull the trigger, especially on an asset that you can use right now. Because when we're drafting, it's still you got to develop these players, especially in this year's draft, unless we're going to be going up in the draft and we're getting somebody in the top 5, that player might be able to contribute right away depending on who it is. But a lot of times, especially in this draft, since it's a weak draft class, the players that we're drafting now are going to probably more than likely spend some heavy minutes in the G League. They're not going to be able to contribute to the team right away.
Yeah, and it's like I said, as a fan, I hate this. I would love to see Patty stay here, but looking at the front office mindset, looking at the money situation, and looking at just kind of the game, the rotations that you're going to have, Patty Mills just doesn't really fit in, unfortunately. And if you really want to give him the chance to really show that he can still ball, because we all know he can. He just doesn't have a place within this rotation, unfortunately.
Yeah, because we're guard heavy. That's the thing. And here's the thing that really pisses me off. With this year's draft, depending on who's available at 11, you're left with the big decision. As a Spurs front office, do you go with the best available player, or do you go and draft for the need? And that's where you're stuck.
And so for me, no matter no matter what spot they're at, the Spurs team needs to draft the best available in terms of their need. So, because they're in a good spot, I think they're going to be, even at 11, they're at a good spot, and they're going to get someone that they can really use. But they can't be going drafting a guard. They're not going to be drafting LaMelo Ball. Sorry for all of you 3 LaMelo Ball fans out there. I don't care for LaMelo Ball.
I have seen some drafts that have Obi Toppin available.
And that's where I'm saying, where the Spurs need to focus on wings and big men. So if you, like, for instance, if the Spurs somehow got the number 2 pick, I always like asking people, so give me your top 3. Give me your top 3 people that you would make a decision between if you had that number 2 overall pick, which is essentially almost anyone.
Yeah.
For me, it's Okongwu, Wiseman, and Denny, which are players that the Spurs need. They might not be the best available. They might not be the best available at 2, especially with Denny. Denny can drop to kind of the top 5, outside the top 5.
Yeah, if he's not picking up right away at number 2 or 3.
But again, you have the number 2 pick. You're going to draft for who you need first off, and who you like the most. And the Spurs definitely need someone that's within that wing and forward position. They do not need another guard. They have 2 excellent guards in DeJounte Murray and Derek White. Then you also have guards in Lonnie Walker and Keldon Johnson. I know Keldon Johnson kind of plays more the 3, but then you also have Quindary Weatherspoon behind them too that you're most likely going to bring back. So you don't need additional guards. You already have a good amount of guards. Yeah. You need to focus on that wing position that you haven't had any players that in the past since Kawhi left. Yeah. You need someone to fill in that wing role that can fill that 3 and 4. That isn't getting old, that isn't in his 30s like Rudy Gay is.
Because the Spurs have had issues, especially because they're so small. They don't really have any inside presence. And without any length out there, they have trouble against teams who have some bigs that are very athletic. And they have issues against teams that are long. They have had issues against the Suns, the Jazz. They even have issues with the Pelicans as well. They have issues.
It's because you have guards who can range to about 6'6", and then you don't really have anyone until maybe that's someone that's 6'10" and up. Yeah. Because you go from Keldon, who's like 6'6", to Drew Eubanks, who's 6'10", then a 6'11" LaMarcus and a 7-foot Jakob. Yeah. There's a gap in the middle that you just need someone to fill. That could be that's 6'7", 6'8", 6'9".
How tall is Trey Lyles? I think Trey Lyles is what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Trey Lyles, he's 6'9", so he's a big man too. But again, you need someone within that 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" range that is more athletic, that can be a better defender as well, that fits more. That's someone that could run against. Because I would say that Zion is much more athletic. He's much more athletic than what you would say Jakob Poeltl is. And Jakob is pretty athletic for his size. Yeah. But you need someone that's kind of between Jakob's size and Keldon's size that can really run with him, but still be able to defend him. And that's why I like guys like Okongwu, who's 6'9". I like guys like Patrick Williams because he can defend at the wing position.
Yeah, I love me some Patrick Williams, but he's gonna go at 7 probably with the Detroit Pistons.
But that's kind of the players that the Spurs need to look at, where they need to look at. I want to say that at least if I'm putting myself in the mindset of the Spurs, I'm looking at defensive-minded players. I'm looking at players that really specialize in defense, because that's a major gap and a major issue that you need. Yeah, Luka is 6'9", by the way, and I think that's kind of going to be the role that Luka would fill in, but I don't think that he's ready yet. He needs at least a half more year development. I think that he could break into the rotation this year mid-season, by the way. But Yeah,
Bill
Billy King said.
Kingsley. You said Trey Lyles,
I
six
was
four,
gonna, I
six
was gonna
five.
say,
I was
like, why
like,
do you
I don't
say Trey
know.
Lyles is like 6'4", 6'5"? I don't know why that didn't click in my head at first. I was like, that's a really short for Trey Lyles,
Yeah.
who is really good rebounding. But
I was like, I don't know
I
how
think the
tall he
Spurs,
is.
but the Spurs really need to focus on defensive guys because the defense was such a struggle this season. And then you just need guys that really fill, like I said, fill in that specific height range that you really need to fill, that you haven't had filled since Kawhi and Danny left.
Yeah. Well, the Lakers, remember in that trade with DeMar, they were going to send us back rumored to be Danny Green, which I don't want back, and
That's
Kuzma.
so that's a really shitty trade. I'm just gonna say it's
Yeah.
a shitty trade. It's you get very little in return. Even if you're giving DeMar out, you're getting 2 1-year rentals and Danny Green and Kyle Kuzma. Danny Green, who's been atrocious, has had atrocious form as of late. Yeah, he's still a decent defender, but his offense just isn't there. He's taking up shots. He's taking undisciplined shots. And then Kuzma, again, it's a 1-year rental. He's looking for some money coming after that year, and I just don't think he's worth it. And I just don't think the fit is there with
The
the
only way
Spurs.
this thing works is because they're in their last year. So they're basically 1-year rentals and then we're done with them. But other than
It
that,
works
they're
money
just,
wise.
yeah. But when you look at the player and how they fit and the complexion of what we wanted to do with the rest of the season or, the upcoming season, we're not going to be as competitive with these guys on the team. I think we're fine with what we have. We are missing some pieces, but if they can make some trades that kind of fill that need, the Spurs can really make a run for the playoffs, possibly
And
maybe
that's
that 7th or 8th seed.
and that's kind of another thing where people say, "Oh, this team needs to rebuild." No, not
No.
really. It's the term. I've said this for the past season. It's retooling. This team needs to retool,
Or
and retooling
reload.
means
They need to reload.
reload or retool, but it's not rebuild. You're not
Yeah.
building from the bottom up. You already have your base. You're just kind of putting on the specialties now that really make this wall really work with the rest of the room.
Yeah.
But
They need some pieces, but
but you're getting pieces that will work with your young core that is really talented and could easily lead this team.
yeah.
And I even say that going to 2021, you don't need to draft someone huge. You don't need to draft a huge name, in my opinion.
Well,
You
don't
need
tell
to use
that to
that.
Spurs Twitter. They want a
Oh,
superstar.
I know.
They're going to tell
I
you, you
felt the
shut your
backlash.
filthy mouth, Ty.
Oh, I've heard the names. I've heard the words, but you use that money to draft guys that are going to really work well with your team. It might not be a Giannis. I honestly don't think Giannis is going to be available. I think
Oh,
he's going to
no.
resign. I think he's going to resign with Milwaukee. I believe that.
Yeah.
So, but you use that money that you have to get guys, more mid-range guys that really work well with as accessory pieces. You don't need a guy that's going to be a main scorer, especially if you're hoping that Keldon or Lonnie are going to be your main scorer. You don't really need a main scorer like that. You just need someone that really makes them look good as a team. You need to look at the team ball, not the player ball, the team ball. And that's why I don't like Russell Wilson. That's why I don't like James Harden, because the teams just don't work.
Yeah.
And we've seen that clearly. So you need to build a team. And that's why I like Miami. Look at Miami. Yeah, they got a really big guy in Jimmy Butler, and Bam really developed into a star player. And aka that could have happened to the Spurs. But they got pieces that really worked well around them and made them a really good team that reached the finals. Unfortunately, injuries hurt them in the finals, and that's why they didn't really do that well. But still, they got to the finals because they had a really well-built team. It wasn't because they had 4 different all-stars. It's because they had a really well-built team that complemented each other and played really well as a team.
Yeah, and credit to Coach Spoelstra because he got the most out of his players as well. So he doesn't get enough credit, I think, as a head coach, but he's just
Spoelstra is a very underrated coach.
Yeah, I think he is. I always said that he was, and I've just been surprised that he's been looked over for Coach of the Year so many times. I thought he does a really good job over there in Miami.
Exactly, and I agree. And then another team that kind of fits that heat role and what you could see the Spurs doing is Milwaukee too, where they have a MVP candidate in Giannis, but they also built around them.
Yeah,
they built around Giannis and had a good team that complemented him. And so as a result, you use your young core of DeJounte, Derek, Lonnie, Keldon, and get pieces that work well with them as a result.
Yeah, we got a question here. It says somebody from Twitter is stating, if Pat Williams not on your board, who do you pick? Patrick Williams was rumored to be at 11, but now with the Detroit Pistons and some other teams showing interest in him, He might go at 5. He might go at 7. It depends on how they're feeling at that time. The names that keep circulating, Obi Toppin might be available. You have Aaron Nesmith. You have Devin Vassell that might be available as well. All these players are decent enough players, but again, at that 11th pick, we're going to have to see who's available. And at that point in time, you're going to have to pick the best available talent at that point in time. That's going to, like Ty says, you're looking for a wing. So out of these wings, which one is going to be the best fit for the San Antonio Spurs as far as a defensive-minded player? If they can score, they have a good quick first step. They can go ahead and get up quick and have a quick release, create their own shot. That's a plus. Good rebounder, solid passer. These are things that we look for in a stereotypical Spurs player. So if they kind of fit the bill and they check those boxes, the Spurs are really going to give them a hard look. And it might not be the player that the Spurs fans are looking for, and they might be really upset if they do pass on one Obi Toppin and they go and get Aaron Nesmith, for example.
So with this, even though Pat Williams, as much as I don't want to see Pat Williams climbing up the boards because I really like him, that means other people are dropping. Obi Toppin's dropping. Isaac Okoro's dropping. I think if Okoro's there, I would take him in a heartbeat. I honestly think I would take Okoro over Pat Williams, in my opinion. But like if Okoro's there, I'm not really sold on Saddiq Bey. I think he could be. I think he.
A lot of people are sold on Bey. You better be quiet there because you're going to get Spurs Twitter coming at you.
I have a Spurs Twitter coming at me for multiple reasons, but I think Saddiq Bey would be a good pick. He's not my favorite pick, but he would still be a good pick. Vassell's could be a really good choice as well defensively.
Precious Achiuwa to me is intriguing. He's intriguing to me.
I think taking him at 11 would be way too early, though. In my opinion, especially because if you still have guys like Toppin, like Okoro still on the board, Saddiq Bey, I think all those guys are better than Precious, and so you should go with these other guys first before you go with Precious. If you did one of these situations, I've been seeing that. Say that you did trade DeMar and you got a late first round pick as well to go along with your 11th, or say you got the number 2 somehow as well. If you have a late round pick, I would not mind using that on Precious or some of these other guys that the Spurs have been interviewing. And it kind of seems like the Spurs are planning for multiple situations, for trading up, for staying put, and then possibly getting some additional picks late in the draft too. Not late in the draft, but late in the first round. Because they've interviewed Tyrese Maxey out of Kentucky. They've had guys.
I like him a lot. I like Tyrese Maxey.
There's guys like Jalen Smith that they've been looking at. And this latest mock, Precious went 22. There's Jaden McDaniels. Then there's another guy that they've been looking at that's been mentored by Tony Parker that could possibly be there in a late first round. Spurs, and so what's interesting though and we've already said this, we don't know how the Spurs are going to go. This is a weird offseason. This was already a weird offseason happening in bang, bang, bang motions of going that trade moratorium or whatever it's called is lifted. 3 days later, you have the draft. And then 2 days after that, you have free agency start. It's going to be crazy. And with all this smoke that we're seeing with the Spurs, we don't know what I honestly have majority. So say that you have like bars of level of confidence, level of belief, I would say. I honestly believe that they're not going to be drafting at 11 come draft night. I think they're going to be somewhere else in the draft because too much smoke, a lot of buzz, and I think they're going to pull the trigger because the Spurs know exactly what they're doing. And I'm putting my money that they're not going to be drafting at 11. Or
what if they draft at 2?
11, if they do draft at 11, they're not keeping that player. That player is going somewhere else because they're getting a different player that got picked earlier or something like that.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that maybe they can move up and they can get that pick from Golden State at number 2. That would really change things up for us and get rid of LMA.
So, all right. So here's the question though, because there's only 2 players that the Golden State can really bring in return. One player I really like and one player I don't like.
Yeah.
And I think you know which player I like and don't like. But how would you feel if you had to take on that really awful contract in Andrew Wiggins for 3 years for that second overall pick?
No, thanks, man. I'd rather have Draymond.
So that's what I'm saying. But there's Kevin O'Connor said that no, Bleacher Report, sorry. A Bleacher Report article said that there's an assumption that Draymond's off the table. That's an assumption. That doesn't mean it's true. And so that means that you've probably, I'm not going to say it's confident, but say that Draymond's on the table. You can't trade for Draymond, but they are willing to take the 11th pick and LaMarcus Aldridge for that number 2 overall pick in Andrew Wiggins. Do you fire on that trade?
Oh, man. If the Spurs front office really thinks that the next big superstar for the team is at number 2, you got to pull that trigger because you never know when you're going to come to it again. But you're going to take on this outrageous salary, and that's going to hamper what you're going to do moving forward, in free agency, and who you're going to be able to keep on the team, So it moves a lot of pieces around in a bad way, So if you absolutely believe that this number 2 pick is something you can build around, I'd pull the trigger. But if you don't think that's going to happen, you're at a maybe. You don't do the deal.
If the Spurs are not confident in the guy that they are determining is worth the 2nd overall pick, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
especially if it's Andrew Wiggins. If it's Draymond, I'm firing on that trade no matter what because you're getting a really good defensive guy and you're getting the 2nd overall pick for the 11th pick in LMA. Hell, why not?
Yeah.
But and some people think that the Warriors are not that dumb. Well, the Warriors also have other motives in this. They could use LMA and be still a really damn good team.
Yeah.
But they're also looking at the money situation. If they're able to get rid of a massive contract either in Wiggins or Draymond, which are both long-term contracts, that saves them a lot of money because they are extremely over the cap. You're looking at the COVID situation where they're going to lose money anyway, and they're going to be hitting the tax. If they're able to dump some money off, even if it is a Draymond $22 million a year salary, I'd rather take that $22 million than a $28 to $30 million that Wiggins is going to be. Wiggins also is a very overrated player, getting paid way too much. So I really like that some people will say, I'll take Wiggins, but realize that they're the same ones that complain about Pau Gasol's contract. And this contract is way worse than Pau Gasol's. I know Wiggins is not exactly Pau Gasol at 38 years old or whatever age he was at, but Wiggins ain't that good. Ain't that good for what you want, for what you need him to be.
Yeah, they overpaid for Wiggins, and they're just trying to unload him at this point. If they want to offload him to the Spurs for that, number 11th pick, they're just trying to, like Ty says, clear some cap space and get LMA. LMA would bring some much-needed scoring, especially in the paint for them, which is something that they kind of need at this point in time.
They have a lack of a true scoring big man in Golden State, and they really want that kind of guy.
Yeah, so LMA would fit that bill. I think the trade, if they made it for Draymond and they gave us Draymond plus the 2nd pick and we gave them our 11th plus LMA, I think that trade will kind of be satisfactory for both teams as far as helping them.
I think that's probably the most balanced trade of the two. I think that's probably the best trade out of trade scenario. It just depends if Golden State is wanting to part ways with Draymond and keep Andrew Wiggins, but honestly, it's a better fit if they get rid of Draymond and put LMA at that 4 or 5 role and have Wiggins probably move into the 3 or 4. Then because the idea that they will have Steph, Clay, draft someone like Sadiq Bey at 11, have Andrew Wiggins play the 3 or 4 right next to Bey, and then have LaMarcus at the 5 and a small ball lineup.
Yeah, but they would at least be balanced a little bit because of the center position,
Yeah, I think it just makes sense in that aspect for the Warriors. Yeah, if the Spurs are really desperate for that 2nd overall pick, you will have to take that Wiggins contract. It's gonna really hurt. But if the Spurs are really confident in whoever they're going to pick at number 2, you have to do it. You do not get the chance to get the number 2 pick using an LMA of all players at 35 years old. You don't get that chance any other year. So I think 9 out of 10 times I'm going to fire on that trade, no matter if it is Wiggins or Draymond. But if I have a pick in the choice, I'm going Draymond over Wiggins.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's a little bit of our Spurs draft talk. I think we went a little too long on our Spurs draft talk here.
We were all over the place. It's off season. Yeah, there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
You can't avoid talking for a long time on this stuff.
Yeah, it's something that we're all passionate about. We can go on and on and on about different picks and who's on our big board, who's, on our mock drafts and all this other kind of stuff. It gets crazy. Everybody has sheets of people's names on it. I know Ty does, and I know I do.
Yeah, no, I think this was more of transactional type moves and not more than draft prospects. But Bill, sorry, I'm in like my host mode as well, so I'm answering questions. But Billy Kingsmill on Facebook, he asked if we're trying if he sees the Spurs trading for Miles Turner. Because that trade rumor is going around. I just don't think the Spurs are involved in that trade rumor.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Spurs would trade for Miles Turner. I would love Miles Turner on this team. I think he would be a perfect fit. I just don't know. I don't think the Spurs are involved in those trade talks, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of things right now because there's so many rumors going on right now. There's a whole bunch of talk, a whole bunch of chatter that's happening, So we'll find out here because as we get closer and closer to the draft, if they're going to make a trade, it's either going to happen on draft night, it'll be announced, or it'll be announced shortly before, But I don't think that the Spurs would like to show their cards pre-draft night. I think they want to show it on draft night.
Overall, the Spurs are not in a bad position, though.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, they are not in a bad position. I think any way this goes, they are going to be in a good. They're going to be in a good position to move forward as a franchise and find them ways back into the playoffs and back into being a title contender.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. So let's go ahead and bring this live stream to an end, Ty. And before we do, where can everybody follow you, the great Ty Jager, on Twitter?
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at the Ty Jager. That's the Ty Jager. You can also follow us at the line pod, where it's been Noah and I, and it's funny that you're bringing Noah on tomorrow for a draft prospect, because we did our own draft preview where we also went on a few tangents, like I said, about Spurs marketing and everything.
Yeah.
But if you really want a really deep analysis with some of the great expertise of Noah, go ahead and check that out. That's at the Line Pod on Twitter or anywhere that you get your podcast.
Yeah, you're always welcome to join us. We're going to be recording around 5 of you available, so you can jump in the convo with me, Noah, and Eric.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay. It'll be interesting, at say the least, because Noah and Eric, they like to have a heated conversation, and it's not being disrespectful. It's both of them just are very passionate about their stance, so I look forward to that debate.
I might jump in on the chat. I might witness, but I'll probably be in the chat more than likely, because I think I've spoken most of my mind tonight. It's been almost over an hour with you. I've had a lot to say. I have a lot on my mind because there's a whole lot going on.
Now, there you go. You can just chime in and chat, and we'll answer your questions here or respond to your.
Or I'm just gonna be laughing at how he did these two good.
Oh gosh, we'll see. Maybe we should have a winner, right? We'll have them go head to head and let the people decide the winner.
Have the judges give scorecards.
Oh God, we don't want to have. If I had Rudy Campos on here as a judge, he'd be the Russian judge. He'd be giving out twos, man. He's a tough critic, dude. Trust me. So go ahead and make sure you go and follow Ty and Noah, because they have a good podcast in At the Line, which you can also follow and subscribe to on Anchor.fm and also in all major podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, just to name a few. They're good follows, though. Ty and Noah are both good guys. They like to talk sports. So if you got anything you'd like to ask or you want to debate, I'd go with Noah, because Ty's kind of mean, man. I'm just playing.
I was gonna say, I agree with you. I am mean. I will say, so seeing some of the takes on Spurs Twitter about some people wanting to take Wiggins over Draymond, it's some stuff like that. It's been very telling of some of the people's basketball IQ on Spurs Twitter.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm calling you guys dumb. I'm sorry. You guys are dumb at times. I'm not gonna be nice about it. You guys are pretty dumb on this. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So make sure you go and tell Ty how you feel on Spurs Twitter.
I'm expecting it. I'm
just playing with you guys. But you can also follow me at Two Shots Podcast, and it's all spelled out TWOSHOTS Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, which this video will be posted to as soon as we're done with this live stream. So that'll bring us to an end here for this episode of the Two Shots Podcast. So for Ty Jager, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you for watching another episode of the Two Shots Podcast. And like we always say, spread the love, stop the hate, be kind to one another.